My name is Patrick O'Lunig and I'm the CEO of nDreams. nDreams are announcing and launching a demo of a game called The Assembly, which is a VR game for Project Morpheus on PS4 and for Oculus Rift on PC. The Assembly is a VR adventure game designed to be an amazing immersive experience. The game is about 3 to 4 hours long. It's 2 different characters that you jump between. Really interesting story, really strong narrative, set in this sort of secret underground bunker, written by a great writer called Tom Joubert, and it's really designed to be a perfect VR adventure, a really great entrance point into VR with lots of great VR touches and really interesting things in there. So within the game you play as 2 different characters, and the game is split into chapters, and as you move through the chapters you'll jump between the viewpoints of 2 different characters. This works really well in VR because you get to experience the different heights, different sounds, different voices, different pace of walking, different breathing, all sorts of really interesting little tricks that allow you to experience sort of playing the role and being 2 different characters within the story. And we felt that worked really well. We didn't like the idea of having a silent protagonist who never talks, because it's a narrative game. It's about dialogue and conversation and great storyline. It's very hard to do that when your character's mute. So we felt that the right route for us was to have 2 really strong characters that you experience and you take control of, and you see through their eyes in this amazing world. So one thing we've tried to do in the storyline for the Assembly is give the player some really interesting moral dilemmas and real moral choices to decide on. So without giving too much of the story away, there's a lot of question marks about what's right and what's wrong, and questions like, would you kill somebody if it meant that 10 other people would be saved? That seems like, in some people that's a very logical yes, of course you would. The benefits of the many outweigh the few, but actually if you had to do it for real, could you do that? That would be a really difficult call. And there's a lot of really interesting dilemmas within the game, within the storyline, that make the player think about what they're going to do really hard and what they think, and also affect the gameplay and affect the ending and affect the dialogue and affect how the game reacts to you. So we're massive fans of games like Telltale's Walking Dead series. I think Telltale are an amazing company, and so in our own way within VR we're trying to do games a little bit like that offer the player the choice and decisions and allow them to affect what's happening in the story. We like the idea of the setting. We wanted to do a really beautiful environment that you could explore, and we could do a lot of detail within it. And the nice, we didn't want a big open landscape wandering around a world. We like the idea of having a game set in an interior with beautiful puzzles and really rich story and great detail, where you can go explore objects and levers and things and talk to characters and hear things. And we felt it was a great setting, this kind of mysterious underground bunker, and trying to figure out what's going on. So that was the reason for the storyline. It seemed to fit very well. We love narrative, we love story, we love dialogue, and it just seemed to fit VR very well as well. You're not sprinting through the game at top speed. You're not doing Call of Duty style, you're dashing around, spinning 360 really fast. You're not doing crazy stuff. It's slow paced in a way, but it's got a lot of emotion in there as well and a lot of atmosphere. So it fits the VR experience really nicely. So in the middle of 2013 we got hold of an Oculus, and a few months later we saw Project Morpheus for the first time, and I was completely and utterly overwhelmed by how cool the VR experience was. For me it's not a gimmick, for me it's something that really makes a big difference. So any game where you want to immerse yourself in another world, where you actually want to be somewhere and look around and feel like you're there and feel like you're not in the real world, you're actually somewhere else, VR is magical, it's really special. And I was bowled away by VR and decided at that time that it was the right thing for us, right thing for our team, and we sort of pivoted the company to move over and focus on VR. So since then we've been doing a lot of experimenting and prototyping and playing around with all sorts of different things. What happens if you wear glasses? What happens if you breathe and it's cold? What happens if your character cries? All sorts of fun stuff, and some things didn't work very well and some things work really nicely. So we've been playing around, learning a lot about what works in VR and what doesn't, and we've got a handful of really interesting games and experiences on VR coming out and in development, as you'll hear more about them over the course of the year. We have a great relationship with Sony. We've been working with them for 5 or 6 years now. They funded us to make the first ever console alternate reality game, this game called Z, which was really great fun, had sort of stuff on the PS3, websites, real life events around the world, all sorts of social stuff tied in, and it was a really interesting experience. So ever since then we've been working closely with Sony, doing a lot of publishing on PlayStation Home and on PS3, and doing some really good work with them. So when they told us about Morpheus, it was an obvious thing to continue to work with Sony and build that relationship. So it's an obvious thing for us. We're using an engine that allows us to work on PS4 and PC. There's not a big difference between the headsets in terms of the sort of raw technical power, and it's relatively straightforward for us to bring the game to both headsets and take advantage of the benefits of both of them.